Set the cardboard box down, pick it back up. There's no reason for it. Inside is just a phone charger with a frayed cord, a few photos of people no one mentions in your story anymore, none of it worth keeping. But your arms hold on anyway. The room is completely empty. Afternoon light cuts a long stripe across the wood floor with no curtains yet to stop it. No one is here to see this, and that might be the real weight, not the box. The absence of anyone to witness the deciding. The room isn't the only place where unseen repairs happen. Somewhere far from this room, a man is repairing a boat in the dark. He's a sailor. A wave has cracked a plank below the waterline, and no harbor is close enough to reach before the gap widens. He works by feel, one hand on the hammer, the other braced against the hull, water finding his knees before he finds the crack. No one is on deck with him. No one is timing this. If the repair holds, the sea says nothing. If it fails, the sea says nothing then too. This is the part of repair no one prepares you for. It happens without an audience. It leaves no mark you can point to afterward and say, there. That's the moment I fixed it. There is only the boat later, either still moving or not. We like our beginnings to be witnessed, a first day, a signature, someone noticing. It's why the box is heavier than it looks. Not because it holds the past, but because setting it down would be the first real thing you've done in this new life that absolutely no one will ever see happen. Maybe starting over was never about leaving your old life behind. Maybe it was always about becoming someone who can change, even when no one is there to applaud the change. Your hand opens the cabinet, takes out 2 cups, not 1, 2, set side by side in the exact familiar spot. You turn to the kettle, then stop. It takes a few seconds to register. You only need 1. You put the other cup back, slower than you normally would, more carefully, as if it had done something wrong without meaning to. No one saw that. No one ever will. That's the strange part about this kind of moment. It isn't grief. It isn't even a decision. It's a reflex catching itself mid-motion. And there's no one in the room to witness it happening. No one to say, I saw the exact second the old life let go of your hand. Here's what the second cup actually proves. Not that you haven't started over, that the self and the action aren't the same speed. We like to believe the self decides, then the body follows. This morning shows the opposite order. The hand moves first. The self runs after it, arriving late, trying to explain something the hand's already finished without asking permission. So the old self doesn't end on a day. It ends like this, one reflex at a time. Unwitnessed, uncelebrated, never once announced. The second cup goes back into the cabinet. Same shelf, same spot. Tomorrow morning, your hand may reach for it again, and no one will be there for that either. Not even you. Not really. Until it's already happening. The alarm goes off, right on time. Your hand shuts it off before your eyes are even open. No looking needed. Then you lie there, not asleep. Not up either, just staring at the ceiling, holding a stretch of time that used to belong to someone else's morning. You could change the time. A few taps. It's been 3 weeks. No one is checking whether you did. No one ever was. Not even back then. That's the part easy to forget. The old alarm wasn't set for an audience either. It rang, you got up, no one applauded that. So why does keeping it now feel like the only proof someone once existed here? If asked, you'd say you've accepted things have changed. You'd tell it smoothly, but telling that story steady requires a self solid enough to say, I'm past this. And that self is exactly the one you just claimed was gone. So you keep the old hour, not from forgetting, from needing ground. Then a quieter trap follows. A new pressure arrives. This time, nothing wasted. Earn the second chance. Work twice as hard. Look at that pressure once, closely. It isn't new. It's the exact shape of the structure that broke you the first time, carried across set down in a new room, given a new name, and mistaken for growth. No one will witness you enforcing it on yourself either. That's what makes it so easy to mistake for discipline. Punishment done in private still feels like virtue if no one's there to call it by its real name. The clock still rings at the old hour. Maybe the question was never whether you're brave enough to change it. Maybe it's whether you can tell the difference, alone, unwitnessed, at 6 in the morning, between the structure that's carrying you and the one that's still quietly finishing what it started years ago. You stand at a door, keying in a code. Wrong. Try again, slower. Still wrong. It takes a second. This isn't the old door. That code belongs to a house you stopped having a key to months ago. You laugh, not because it's funny. No one saw you get it wrong. No one will ever know how many times your fingers have tried. That's the part that catches you off guard. Not the mistake, but how completely alone you were inside it. Here's where a common belief cracks, that starting over means reaching zero. Zero sounds clean. A line, old on one side, new on the other. But no one has ever actually stood at zero. The code is still in your fingers. The cup is still in your reflexes. The alarm still rings at an hour with no reason left. Not because you haven't tried hard enough to erase them, because no one is grading the erasing. There's no inspector checking whether the old self is fully gone before you're allowed to call this new. No ceremony confirms it. No one arrives to say, now you've arrived. You just keep typing the wrong code into a door that isn't yours, alone, unconfirmed, for exactly as long as it takes. And maybe that's not the tragedy it first sounds like. If no one is watching to confirm you've changed, then no one is watching to confirm you haven't either. The wrong code isn't proof you're stuck. It's just what starting over looks like while it's still happening, witnessed by no one, verified by nothing, true anyway. You turn away from a door that's no longer yours. The numbers still live in your hand, just numbers now. No door attached. Out at sea, the sailor is still nailing the new plank into place. His hand shakes, not from fear, from holding the hammer too long. The wood is barely set before the next wave hits it. There's no one on deck to see this. There never was. If the plank holds, the sea says nothing. If it doesn't, the sea says nothing then either. He realizes something slow between one swell and the next. This boat has never once stopped to be fully repaired in front of anyone. No inspector below deck, no harbor cheering it in. Every plank goes in unseen, unconfirmed, and the boat either keeps moving or it doesn't, and that verdict arrives without ceremony too. Below deck, things still drift that don't belong to this voyage. A cardboard box no one threw overboard. A second cup nobody uses. A clock still pointing at an hour with no reason left. A string of numbers once typed into a door that isn't here. He doesn't carry them because he needs them. He carries them because no one ever came to collect them. That's the part almost no one says out loud about starting over. It happens with no one checking your work. No witness confirms the moment the old plank became new wood. You simply notice one night that the hull is holding, and even that no one will verify but you. The waves keep hitting. The new wood creaks once, then goes still. It's holding. Maybe you're mid-voyage too. Box still in your arms, cup still in your hand, alarm still ringing at an hour that means nothing, code still wrong on a door that isn't yours. Not because you haven't started over, because starting over was never going to be witnessed. It was only ever going to be true. So the question isn't whether anyone will notice the plank you just nailed in. It's whether you'll trust that it's holding tonight in the dark, with no one there to tell you either way.